From the station that's on your side, you're watching News 19 at 11.
And good evening. Thanks for being with us. I'm J.R. Berry.
And I'm Andrea Mock. You know what? This is a first of its kind here for News 19. We decided to go ahead and bring you News 19 at 11 outside in the elements. I promise no heaters are involved here.
You know, we have sent our reporters, our cameramen, our support crew out in the cold today. Plus, we've had a lot of people like you at work outside in the cold today. So we decided to come out and see what it was like as we prepare for this winter storm.
Yeah, that's right. After all the hard work from everybody at SCDOT and the city and all of the cities around the Midlands have been outside working double overtime today, trying to make sure that the roads stay safe and that the schools are safe and that the kids are safe. And so we figured, you know what? You have to be outside working today. We might as well be outside working too, JR.
And we're going to be getting to South Carolina's weatherman Jim Gandy in just a moment with the very latest details on the forecast. But first, let's mention what happened earlier today.
Yeah, a little bit earlier today, Governor Nikki Haley again declared a state of emergency. Another winter freeze storm bringing snow and sleet and freezing rain to all areas of the Midlands.
That state of emergency took effect at noon today and put the National Guard on active duty to support state agencies. The Guard has record teams and four-wheel drive vehicles that can be used in the storm response. Plenty of areas have already seen some snowfall, and some may even see some ice build up in the next little while.
Yeah, News 19 was everywhere today. We headed to the outskirts of the Midlands towards Darlington and Hartsville, and that's what you're looking at now. They saw plenty of snow move in, but now the scary part, ice. Nobody has been predicting the weather in South Carolina or studying it longer than Chief Meteorologist Jim Gandy. That's why he is South Carolina's weatherman. For the very latest on what we can expect, literally, Jim, outside as we're sitting outside. Tell us what's going on.
Well, you picked a good time to be outside because right now the radar is showing nothing. That's right. This is the break that we were expecting between the first batch of precipitation moving into the Midlands and the second batch, which is headed our way, and it's not too far away. Already, we're beginning to see some rain moving through central Georgia. It's headed our way. The rain extends all the way back to Texas, from Shreveport all the way into northern Mississippi. We're seeing a wintry mix of sleet, freezing rain, as icing taking place, some snow there. But the real problem isn't that is coming our way. It's this rain that's coming in, and it's coming into some cold air. And so when you wake up tomorrow morning, it'll already be here. We're expecting by the early morning hours, say around 3 a.m., the precipitation start moving in. Might even be before then. But by 4:30, this computer projection is that we're going to be seeing sleet and freezing rain across the Midlands already, the snow coming in, and it's going to increase during the morning hours. Here's 7:30. Notice the snow through the northern Midlands. There's going to be some good accumulation in addition to what you got today. And then from Columbia southward, there's going to be an accumulation, first sleet and then freezing rain. And the freezing rain is what's going to be causing the icing. Now I want to turn your attention to this right down here. This is rain, but this is heavy rain, and it's coming into the cold air, so it's going to be feeding a lot of moisture into the area for that freezing rain. And it's likely to continue through the afternoon into the evening hours, and it doesn't end until Thursday. So as it pulls away, finally we begin to see some sun coming out, and things will be much better by Friday. But in the meantime, the cold air is settling in. It's already 30 in Sumter, Florence, and in Myrtle Beach. 34 still in Columbia, but just to our northeast, it's already down below freezing. And when you factor in the wind, which is blowing right now at about 10 miles per hour, this is sustained winds. This is what it feels like outside. It feels like it's 21 degrees in Sumter and Myrtle Beach, 26 in Columbia, 24 in the Orangeburg area, so definitely feels cold. Now you have winter storm watches, or warnings I should say, from northern Louisiana to southern New Jersey at this point, but there's some interesting things in our neck of the woods. We have a winter storm warning for the Midlands, for the upstate, the PD, the North Coast, an ice storm warning for the northern part of the low country. But now the rest of the low country is in a freezing rain advisory for tomorrow, so almost everybody is going to see at least some ice. It's going to first come in as some sleet and snow, and we're expecting some accumulation to our south. We just can't tell how much. But from Columbia northward, you will see some accumulation of snow. Here in Columbia, it kind of depends on what part of the city you're in. If you're south, you might only pick up an inch. If you're on the north side of the city, you might pick up as much as 3 or 4 inches. But once you get up to Newberry, Winnsboro, and then Camden, 4 to 6 inches of snow possible before it changes over to freezing rain. But this is going to be the real problem. It's going to be the freezing rain because that's how the ice builds up. And in this corridor right here, which includes Aiken, Orangeburg, Columbia, Sumter, Manning, Bishopville, a ½ inch to an inch of ice accumulation. To the north, 1/4 to a ½ inch of ice possible for Newberry, for Winnsboro, for Camden. Now, let me put this into perspective. In the last big ice storm that we had back in 2004, we had through the southern part of the Midlands about 1/4 to a ½ inch of ice. So in the main corridor of ice, we're likely to see conditions worse than what we saw back in 2004. So here's our forecast. We're going down to 29 degrees tonight here in Columbia. Areas to our northeast might even get into the mid-20s. We're going to see that wintry mix coming in during the early morning hours. It will continue tomorrow with a high of only 32 degrees and then 29 degrees tomorrow night. If you don't have to get out on the roads tomorrow, please stay indoors and stay safe. I'll have more on this developing situation in just a few minutes.
All right, Jim, thank you so much. As we mentioned at the top of the broadcast earlier today, the governor declared a state of emergency ahead of this storm. And just a couple of hours ago, the State Emergency Management Agency went ahead and activated their emergency alert system. We want to bring in Derek Becker tonight with that agency to find out what this means. Derek?
Right, JR, we activated the statewide emergency alert system after seeing the forecast come through from the National Weather Service all day, keeping in close contact with our partnering state agencies, the Highway Patrol, the Department of Transportation for one. It was just so many variables in the forecast that we couldn't take anything for granted. So we activated EAS to make sure all of the broadcasters throughout South Carolina from radio and television are sending out the message from SCEMD to make sure people know that this is a very serious storm. They should heed the warnings. They should stay home and stay off the roads.
Derek, we just heard from our own Jim Gandy, who says that we're expecting some snow overnight and, of course, an icing event tomorrow. What are you guys hearing and what are you preparing for?
Well, we've had forecasts come in from all 4 National Weather Service offices that serve South Carolina. We're getting updates on crews from the Department of Transportation. We're getting regular updates from public safety as well. There are too many variables with the changing forecast, and that's why we want to be as flexible and as cautious as possible to make sure people have all the information that's coming in here from SCEMD, that they have it at home so that they can make decisions about their safety.
The best advice you would give motorists tomorrow if we have all of this winter mess out there?
Don't go out on the road. Stay home. If it looks like you have to take a trip sometime tomorrow, look at the forecast and postpone it by all means.
Derek Becker with the State Emergency Management Agency. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Derek. That is great advice. Really, we don't want you outside if you don't have to be. No reason. But if home is not a warm place either, the good news is here in Columbia, there are places you can go. The city has just announced that they have opened their 24-hour warming stations. You can head over to the one at Hyatt Park, or there's also one at King Park. Now, anybody, including really the entire family, is welcome to go and spend the night there. They've got mats set out for everybody and staff as well. The stations are going to be open tonight, and then they're going to open tomorrow on a 24-hour basis. So if you are in a trailer or a home or an apartment, if the heat is not warm enough for you and your family and you who have kids who are cold, please go there. The Red Cross, meanwhile, has just announced tonight they have opened one in Orangeburg at Cornerstone Church on Chestnut. So there's that place in Orangeburg if you need to go someplace to get warm. And with the snow still on the ground and freezing temperatures across the Midlands, of course, most schools are closed. Chances are if you're watching this and you are in Richland or Lexington or Sumter, your school is closed tomorrow, but we do have a complete list, including places like daycares, doctor's offices, city municipalities, all on our website, WLTX.com, where we have our master list announcing all of those closes. JR, I believe the last phone call we got into the newsroom was Allen University.
That's right.
Just calling tonight at about 9:30 to say, yes, in fact, Allen University, your classes are canceled for tomorrow.
Pretty much, I believe most schools are going to be canceled tomorrow. And if things get as bad as we expect them to be, Probably a lot of them are going to be closed Thursday, maybe even some on a delay, but we'll just wait and see. We want to get ahead of ourselves.
Don't get too ahead of ourselves. One step at a time.
Yeah.
We're out here. We're cold. Let's start here.
Before what happens tomorrow happens, let's look back at today now, because Fairfield County was one of the areas in the Midlands today that saw a good bit of snow, 2 to 2.5 inches, Andrea. Then they were the first to see the snow a couple of weeks ago.
It really did there, and it started first thing in the morning. Thank you so much to all of our viewers who sent in their tweets and texts letting us know what was going on there. That's where we've sent News 19's Dakari Turner, who's been out in Winsboro and in that area all day. Dakari, I know it's cold out there, my friend, but what's going on there tonight?
Andrea, it is pretty cold. As you said, the snow came down rather early, pretty early here. The local folks tell us it started coming down at about 3 o'clock this morning, getting a lot of snow. As you can see over my shoulder, a lot of it came down. It stopped right now, but it's the winds that are picking up. Right now, my News 19 weather app tells me that the winds are about 8 miles per hour. It's 32 degrees, but it feels like it's about 25 degrees, so the wind chill definitely a factor. And when it is that cold, the roads become tricky. In fact, I was talking to a tow truck driver here about an hour ago, or excuse me, about 10 minutes ago, who told me he picked up a car that was in an accident about an hour ago, said that the driver was just slid off the road because of the road conditions, probably wasn't paying as much attention as he should have. With the road conditions like that, you want to make sure, especially if you're out here in Winsboro or in Fairfield County, you want to make sure that you're taking the road slow, a lot of black ice out there, make sure that you're being really safe. I'm going to go ahead and send it back to you, JR and Andrea.
All right, Dakari, thank you so much. Andrea, most areas, if not all areas of the Midlands today, saw some form of precipitation, be it the rain, sleet, or even the snow.
Yeah, Lugoff was another one of those areas in the Midlands that definitely saw some snow earlier today. That's where we find our own Stephen Dial. Stephen, like everywhere else, ice going to be a big concern in Lugoff later tonight, right?
That's right, guys. We are here in Kershaw County in Lugoff, in the Lugoff area of Kershaw County, and snow started coming down here early this morning. They were one of the first people in the Midlands to see snow just after 6 a.m., but what we've been focusing on all day was the ice. We know about the snow, the soft, fluffy snow, but the ice on bridges and roads. I'm joined by Chief Ray here with the Lugoff Fire Department. And Chief, we're in front of a bridge that actually has some ice on it. This is Highway 601, right?
That's correct. This is overpass in Lugoff, Highway 601 over US 1. South Carolina Department of Transportation has been out here several times today, as well as in the entire Lugoff community, sanding all of our roads and overpasses, done a great job of it. And this is one we're going to really keep our eyes on. Both sides of it's frozen over. They've got it open for traffic, got it sanded good, but we know this is just the first part of what's a major storm to come. So we know things are going to get a lot worse before they get better here.
And you mentioned the calm before the storm. I know, this is a busy road, and there are a lot of other roads like this that have ice on them. How important is it? I know you guys tell people to stay off the roads, but if they have to be on the roads, how do they handle going across bridges like this?
Sure, it's essential personnel only. Anyone who has an essential position, we're talking doctors, nurses, 911 dispatchers, those that have to be on the roads, that need to be there, those are the only folks who should be on the road. Incredibly dangerous situation. I can't stress enough that folks need to avoid the roadway at all possible tomorrow and Thursday. If you have to be on the roads, very slow going across bridges, very slow in your traveling, stay off the brakes, make sure no one activates your brakes coming across these bridges and across these icy areas. Black ice, you just can't see it. So you got to go slow enough in the event that your vehicle starts going into a skid. The worst thing you want to do is hit your brakes. So just being very careful, but we just can't stress enough. We're begging people to stay off the highways if in any way possible tomorrow and Thursdays. Thursday, it's just going to be impossible to drive on these roads with 3/4 to an inch of ice.
Well, thank you so much, Chief. And again, like the Chief said today, they saw in Lugoff in Kershaw County about 2 inches of snow, and that's just going to add on to what we're going to get tomorrow. But again, we couldn't show you guys the black ice because the bridge is still open. But like the Chief said, black ice, you cannot see it, so make sure you take it slowly if you have to be on the roads. We're here in Lugoff. Stephen Dial, News 19 WOTX.
Very good advice. Thank you, Stephen. That black ice is what can be the most deadly. Here's the good news. We are sitting out here live right now for you on Garner's Ferry Road. This is normally a very, very busy street right behind us. We've got a couple of cars out on the roadway, but other than that, it seems like most people are staying inside tonight, which is what we want to see.
Exactly. And when we come back, South Carolina's weatherman Jim Gandy has more details about this big winter mess. It's coming up in a moment.
You're watching News 19 at 11 with J.R. Berry and Andrea Mock.
All right, we are continuing our winter mess coverage part 2, and we decided so many of our hard workers here at News 19 and in the state had to be outside today. We wanted to do the same thing, so we are coming to you live outside the WLTX studios on Gardners Ferry Road.
No snow. We have some video from earlier today, though, showing exactly what was going on. It was a nice winter mess out there, and we are expecting this again in a few short hours. A lot of us are going to be asleep when the snow starts falling, Andrea, but tomorrow when the ice starts falling, unfortunately, we will know about it.
Yeah, Jim told us earlier in the day we were going to see snow, there was going to be a lull, and then it was going to pick back up with an ice storm, which obviously could cause a lot of problems as far as our power is concerned. But for the very latest on what we can expect, South Carolina's weatherman Jim Gandy tracking the storm for you. Jim, how long do you think, even right here in the Midlands where we're at, till we see that ice starting to come?
At the rate things, well, as far as the ice is concerned, I don't know. At the rate things are going, we might start seeing some ice accumulation in the next couple of hours. Let me show you why. This is a look at the radar, all of the radars right now across the southeast, and this is a 6-hour loop. Notice how fast the precipitation is progressing across Alabama, Georgia, now approaching the Augusta area. At this point, we're going to start to see some precipitation moving here by about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And given the fact that the temperatures are dropping, we might start to see some ice forming before too long. In the meantime, let me show you what's driving this. It is the winds in the upper atmosphere. Now, for a good part of this winter, they were diving out of the western or northwestern parts of Canada all the way to the southeast. Lately, they've been coming in off of the Pacific, and this one's bringing 2 disturbances with it. One that's been moving out of Canada, it's moving toward the southeast. The other one that is moving through Texas right now, and the 2 of these are going to combine and intensify over the Carolinas in the next 24 hours. And that's one of the reasons why we're expecting so much precipitation from this system. Here's what we're seeing right now. Here's an overview. The first batch of precipitation has moved on out into the Atlantic. It's gone. It's history. High pressure has moved into the northeast. Northeasterly winds are strengthening the cold air here in South Carolina. And now we have the next batch of precipitation that is moving our way. And as I say, it's getting close to South Carolina already. Just about everybody will be seeing something before daybreak. Here are the temperatures around the Midlands. It's already down to 30 degrees in Sumter, 31 in Bishopville, 32 in Manning, Camden, in Winnsboro, 34 here in Columbia. It's 32 in St. Matthews. Even Aiken now is down to 32 degrees. So the situation is already right for some freezing rain. Here are the wind chill values, and they're generally in the low to mid 20s. Look at this over in Sumter. It feels like it's 21 degrees. Well, here's our computer model, and it may be a tad slow because this is 1 o'clock in the morning and it's only showing the precipitation into the Aiken area. Actually, I think it'll be before that, but you get the general idea, and by daybreak we're going to be seeing a real mess south of Columbia. It's probably going to be in the form primarily of freezing rain. Now, from Columbia northward, it's going to start as sleet and some snow, and then it's going to gradually turn over to some freezing rain. And just about everybody in the Midlands is going to see freezing rain at some point, so there's going to be an ice buildup as well. Here's what we're projecting for low temperatures. For Camden, Sumter, and for Bishopville, 26 degrees, 29 in Columbia, maybe 30 degrees for a low in Aiken, though I'm not sure. They may even get a little bit lower than that. Highs tomorrow are going to struggle. They'll be good to get up to maybe freezing tomorrow. 32 is our projected high here in Columbia. We'll still see some precipitation on Thursday, 43 degrees. Finally, the sun comes out on Friday, high of 51, and we should be warming into the weekend, 58 on Sunday, and by Tuesday, we may be up to about 65 degrees. We'll be back after this break.
All right, we are live. It's about 11:25 at night right now, just outside of the WLTX studios on Gardners Ferry Road. According to Jim Gandy, JR, it feels like it is about 26 degrees outside. That's with the wind chill. In Sumter, meanwhile, right now, it feels about 21. When it comes to tomorrow, we are not even expected to get above freezing.
You know what? According to us out here, it's cold because we can feel it out here right now. It is
My
cold.
expert thermometer tells you it's very cold outside. You stay inside.
In all seriousness, folks, tomorrow is expected to be a big winter mess with this ice storm. Governor Haley, as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, has declared a state of emergency, and we talked to her earlier today. She has some advice for residents all across the state. Listen up.
It is not safe for anybody to even be riding a bike, a car, or anything on the roads tomorrow. The main thing I can stress is be ready for power outages, because when you have this much ice, you're going to have a lot of ice sitting on those power lines. We expect multiple power outages. Our utility companies have stepped up and are ready to do it, but it's going to take a while. So make sure you have a way to keep yourself warm. Make sure you have food. Make sure that you've checked on your pets and the elderly as we're going through this process. But we do need to brace ourselves. This is going to be a pretty nasty ice storm.
This is absolutely nothing to play around with. It's very rare you hear a governor say all of this, and it's very rare for the State Emergency Management Agency to activate their alert system. We hear it all the time. This is only a test. Well, tonight they said this is not a test. This is the real deal.
And, you know, we've talked a lot about the snow, and of course, those of us here in South Carolina who don't get to see it a lot, JR, get very excited about the snow.
No.
But that's not the danger tomorrow, you guys, that we're talking about. We are talking about the ice. This rain is going to start to fall, and it is going to coat the roads and the trees and the branches, and then it becomes very heavy once it freezes. We heard Jim Gandy saying the high tomorrow, if you're lucky, is going to be 32 degrees. That's obviously just at freezing. We are going to get all that water and condensation freezing on our roads, and it is going to turn into ice, more than black ice. We are talking about inches of accumulation of ice that are possible tomorrow, JR, which means there is no safe way to even walk outside, let alone get in your car and try to drive someplace.
And of course, the big concern tonight is the power outages possible tomorrow. The power companies have been preparing for tomorrow. They've been doing so all day today and yesterday. The best advice, if you have a power outage, report it if you can, and then be patient. It may take 3 hours. It may unfortunately take 3 days. Who knows how bad this is going to be tomorrow. So just be patient if your power goes out.
One of the things, too, I heard from SCE&G tonight, while you have power, while you have access to the internet, go ahead and do a Google search. Make sure you have all of those phone numbers handy so you're not waiting until it's dark in your house and you no longer have your internet to be able to look and figure out what phone number to call to let the officials know that you are sitting in the dark.
All right, a final check on this winter mess when we come back.
All right, you see the radar there. That's a 3-hour loop, and the precipitation already reaching Augusta. It will be here in the next hour or two, and I will be back on the air at 1 a.m. with a special report.
And you said, Jim, if your predictions are right, what are we in for?
If my forecast verifies, unfortunately, it means that the ice storm is going to be worse than what we saw in 2004. Ooh. And you know how long some people, if you lose power for more than a day, make sure that you're dripping those faucets so they don't freeze.
Interesting. This could be worse than it was 11 years ago.
But to give you some perspective, in 2004, we had up to a ½ inch of ice.
Right.
This one, we might see up to an inch. Now, I've heard forecast of up to 2 inches, but I can never find anything where we saw 2 inches of ice in this area. It's not impossible, but it's not likely.
All right, make sure that you follow WLTX and Jim Gandy on Twitter as well as Facebook. We're out of time.
Letterman is next. Stay with us.